Hi everyone, we are the team behind the Philippine folklore-inspired Lagim card game. Hi, I'm Kara.
And I'm AJ, and welcome to Tawag ng Dilim, our very own Lagim Halloween special.
And joining us this evening are writers who share the same passion and love for Philippine folklore. And we'd love to have them introduced.
Mabuhay! I am Carl de Mesa. I am the author of several books of horror, tulad ng Feel-Good na Demons of the New Year. And the latest is also the very peaceful, very joyful Calling Out the Destruction, available for pre-order in second run. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Vida Cruz Borja. I have a book coming out with Ateneo Press in November. It's called Song of the Mango and Other New Myths. But for that, you can get my Beyond the Line of Trees, which is 4 short stories, and they're all illustrated.
Hi, I'm John Carlo Gaverza, the author and main researcher for Philippine Spirits, where I write fictional stories about Philippine folklore and mythologies in the Philippines. So I have zines out about everything. Right now we're doing Halimawin, which is like an Inktober prom. Every day is a different mythical creature of the Philippines for artists to reimagine. Yeah.
Thank you. And one brief question for our writers. Like, what made you interested sa Philippine folklore?
At a very early age, I was not really interested, but it was kind of my reality. I was living from, me and my parents would often change houses, parang every 4 to 6 months, I think, late 80s. And then a lot of the time, sa province kami, so weird stuff would happen. I guess they would say parang lapitin ako ng spirits or ng creatures. Notable sa akin yung nandun kami sa isang bahay, and then laging merong sounds dun sa roof. And then eventually I would learn na meron palang kapre dun sa nearby puno. And then yung mga matatanda would explain na, ay, huwag kang kukuha ng prutas sa kanya or anything that he would offer you kasi itatakas ka niya. So that's one. And I would also hear mga mas clairaudient ako. They would say, nas maririnig ko yung mga things. So nakakarinig ako ng footsteps na wala, tapos may umiiyak na bata, which is the scariest. Sana, akala mo pusa, wala namang pusa din sa ano. So stuff like that. Eventually, when I worked in government and I would be stationed in Malacanang, which was of course a very haunted place, for all the ghosts and dead people in it. I would not stay past 4:30 or actually paalis na ako 5. So 5 yung cut off ng government. Maraming beses na wala pang kagat ng dilim, the vibe would be really scary and spooky. Scariest stories, I think, is yung naglalakad ako sa corridor and then one by one namamatay yung ilaw. It's like a classic horror movie. Very by beat pa talaga siya. Pag tumakbo ako, tapos mabilis din. So, hindi na ako nag-elevator pag medyo madilim na kasi minsan naiipit yung elevator. That would be worse.
How about Miss Vida?
Yes. Okay, so I attended a workshop for science fiction and fantasy writing in the US. I have an accent that doesn't set me apart from everyone else over there, but I felt super othered in that 1 month, even though nobody was outright racist to me. And then for the first time, I found myself writing stories that were really reaching back into the Philippines. So I would say that, well, this past decade is all about learning to care for yourself, self-care, self-love. I've also personally applied it on a cultural level because I feel like I am always grieving for the things that we lost due to colonialism. And my way of trying to learn to love the Philippines is by learning as much as I can of folklore. My writing has taken a decolonial turn ever since then. As for tarot cards, lapitin din ako. No, we're fine. No, lapitin din ako. I started reading tarot cards in 2017, pero lapitin ako way before that. In 2019, I moved for my job at Anvil Publishing. I moved into an apartment across the street. It was haunted, like deeply, deeply haunted. And the thing did not want me there. 3 weeks akong nandun. And then araw-araw, nosebleeds, fever. And nag-culminate talaga in Halloween. I had a dream about something was trying to throw me off the bed. Sabi, you're not worthy of the light. You're unclean. But it was pretending to be a deceased relative of mine. And then when I woke up, I had a fever and my nose was bleeding. And also, it's Halloween!
Sumakto talaga.
Yeah, nga eh. And so I moved out, pero sumama siya sa bahay.
Wow.
And we had to call an albularyo. Yeah. So we had to call an albularyo. I mean, first, I was exorcised, me personally, pero it was still hanging around, so the albularyo had to exorcise our house. And after that, I realized na it's not gonna stop it. These things have been attaching to me several times after that pa. The most recent was siguro 2 weeks before my wedding earlier this year, may dumikit sa akin.
Attracted.
Yeah, but also it's because we had our engagement shoot in Pinto Art Museum in Antipolo. And Antipolo is like the best place for something to stick to you, I promise. So, yun, dumikit siya sa akin doon. And it turns out that the month before the wedding, kaya pala pagod na ako. Anyway, so tarot is part of my practice because I'm learning how to defend myself from there are bad ones, there are good ones, most of them are neutral. It's gotten to the point where I actually managed to perform my own first exorcism earlier this year. But I'm still a baby at this, so like if it ever happens to any of you, I can try first and then later on I'll tell you if it's still there. Maybe you should call this person instead.
That's something, the exorcism part is something that's really interesting, especially, and the tarot then. I think we should have a different, separate video with nurturing video.
Ma-exercise na natin.
Yes. Ako nakaganto lang ako, but I'm not an expert. Never ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, last but not the least, let's have Sir JK.
Oh, okay. So my start in folklore was actually in the academe. I took up linguistics as my undergraduate course, and from there, the topic of my thesis was mythologies in the Philippines and folklore in the Philippines, because I am a strong proponent of the diversity in the Philippines. There are 175 ethno-linguistic groups in the country. Each of them have their own language and their own culture and their own way of seeing the world. For my thesis, I had to catalog creatures. I think right now I'm still doing research independently on them, like going through books, sometimes traveling if I can. But I have cataloged at least 2,000 mythical creatures from the Philippines and about, I want to say 500 gods and goddesses. That's not even a lot. Like, I haven't cataloged all the Ifugao gods, and the Ifugao have 1,000. But the start of my relationship with the paranormal came when I was younger. My mom died early on in my childhood, and afterwards I got sick. They took me to doctors, tried to see if there was a physical reason why I was sick, and they came up with nothing. So last resort was hiring an albularyo, and I vividly remember him saying when he went into my house, when he went to the sala, there was a woman in black crying. What he gave me was an anting-anting, and it was a leaf wrapped in a red cloth. So after he gave me the anting-anting, I felt better. I wasn't sick anymore. I wasn't missing school. About a year after, I lost the anting-anting, but I was never bothered by spirits anymore. So yeah, that was my start.
It's very fun hearing the background stories of our guests. And tonight, we will be showcasing our Lagim basic game set and then, of course, our second edition game box together with our expansion cards. For the first edition game set, we were introduced in battling the different card villains through their entity levels, and then we were also introduced with the use of soul coins, the dark soul coins. Now, for the second edition, we were now introduced with a bigger playboard together with a new rule book. So, mas immersive yung game niya compared with the first edition. So, that's the main difference. And at the same time, we also have expansion cards that we can play along with the second edition game set. And that is that one. Yeah.
Ilan siya, AJ? Apat na ano?
There are four sets of cards contained in one expansion pack. Ayun. So, but the game set, itong second edition natin, it already contains yung basic characters natin, like the Lakas, Contra. So we will get to know more of those cards in the next set. So, Kara, can you introduce us to the second part of our show, which is the audience engagement mechanics?
Yeah, so before we proceed with, kasi later, after unboxing, we'll have a game. But before that, we want to include our audience, of course, in the fun. So we'll have 2 games. So the first game, we call it the Spot the Manananggal. So you have to watch out for this. Yan. Manananggal that is snuck in somewhere and sometime throughout this video. To qualify, you have to screenshot the Manananggal and send it to our Facebook page. Share this video with the hashtags Tawag ng Dilim, #Lagim card game. Make sure you like and follow our Facebook page to qualify. One winner will get one MAMBABARANG collectible figure.
The second game is the trivia question. Watch out for our trivia question. Write your answers in the comment section of the Tawag ng Dilim video and include the hashtags Tawag ng Dilim, #Lagim card game. Like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel to qualify. Winners will get 50% discount coupon. Winners will be announced on November 18, 2022. Alright, let's look at the box content. In front of the box, you'll see a large Lagim logo surrounded by Vivian writings and symbols of the moon and scales. The design is inspired by one of our new characters in Lagim expansion set, which is the Bakunawa. Now, guys, let's go to the game board. The Lagim Edition 2 game board showcases a large forest realm, which will be the main stage for the card deck holders, coins, and cards. The Forest Realm illustration is inspired by the roots of an acacia tree with an eerie setting. The story behind the Forest Realm is that a mysterious entity struck the barrios, causing darkness to spread throughout. Hidden beneath the forest is the Agimat necklace, which is, we will introduce later, ito yun, the Agimat. So, for every winner of the Lagim game, you win the Agimat, and this Agimat makes you immune from all the abilities of the darkness. After that, you'll also see the Spirit Path. It used to be the regular stash for the soul coins, but in Lagim Edition 2 Rulebook, it is now one of the ways on how you can win the Agimat necklace. So if you complete the Spirit Path, if you complete 3 coins for the Spirit Path, you win the game of Lagim. And then on this part, where we have writings like the Dweller and coins, dito muna tayo sa coins. This is our coin stash. This is where our starter coins will be placed. During the start of the game, you'll have 3 soul coins and a dark soul coin placed here. Now, this is the new one sa ating rulebook, the Dwellers. Over here is the Dwellers. This will be the dwelling place of the attacking forest cards. You have to prevent your barrio from getting overwhelmed by dwellers, or else a soul coin will be ripped from your barrio. So later on, we will get into that. But first, isama na natin dito sa introduction yung pag-showcase ng ating mga
Card holders. And by the way, so we have yung cursed na forest dito. You will notice na it's corrupting the barrio din. Yes. So before, it's just a barrio attacking or defending their barrio from the forest, but now they're attacking each other din kasi they're corrupted by evil too.
So the evil has really spread.
Yeah.
Hindi lang parang
The goal
iba kasing difference nung una. First edition. It's very prominent.
Okay.
I didn't have that.
Yeah. Small but very interesting. So this is the silab or the light bearer. The purpose of the silab is to help the players know which phase they're already in. Like for in this game sheet, every turn you have 3 phases. Phase 1 is Takip Silim, Phase 2 is Hating Gabi, and Phase 3 is Bukang Liwayway. Later on, we'll discuss more about this, but basically the purpose of silab is for you to know ano na yung phase na ginagawa. So, whenever you're making an action, you move the silab. And then if it's your turn, I'll give you the
Ikaw naman.
ikaw naman.
So it indicates which player
Yes.
is.
Very sikat.
Also inspired by Giancarlo.
Bulol.
Bulol.
Cordillera myth.
AJ already mentioned the card holders. Purpose nito is this is where we put the deck of cards. So for the darker card holder, we place the forest cards.
Okay.
And the other holder for the Mario cards. And on the side, we have the graveyard. This is where we put the discarded forest
Discard
cards. And the resting pile for the used Mario cards. And in the middle, we have the coins. And soul coin and the dark soul coin. The cards. So we have two types of cards. We have the forest card and the Mario card. The forest cards, it contains the fearsome monsters. And they are divided in archetypes. One example of archetype is witch, mangpula, mambarang. Another example of archetype is giant. So the bakunawa, sarangay, kapre, tigbalang. But aside from the monsters, we also have what we call the equip cards or the hiwaga cards. An example is this puno ng acacia.
So, may buff sila, di ba?
Mhm.
To buff the monsters.
So this is the equip card of the sarangay. So it is used to strengthen the entity level and also to enable evil abilities of the
Like
the evil abilities.
to make them more evil.
Yes.
Yes.
But of course, hindi pa huli ang ating mga heroes. So the Barrio cards contain the hero cards divided into archetypes, the mortal, medium, and warriors. And they also have equip cards or the contra cards
Mga contra.
to counter the evil.
Ano sila, di ba? I know each one can be equipped only with specific heroes.
Yes, tama, tama.
But there are cards po na that can be used on their own. Like halimbawa this agimat. So even without equipping it, you can use it to
Play it.
play.
And at any time, di ba?
When it's your turn.
When it's your turn.
When it's your turn.
Alright, so let's talk a little bit about the anatomy of the cards so we can easily identify which ones are the lakas, which ones are the contra, and so on and so forth. So first off, for the forest cards, let's start with the forest card set. We have the lagim or yung mga tinatawag natin na villain cards. Yeah, this is an example of the villain cards. Kasama ng mga villain cards under the forest set are the hiwaga cards. And you can identify them by the color. Yeah. So in our basic cards, you can identify them. Here is color red for the Lagim cards, and also the archetype is in color red. Yeah. For the expansion pack, you can identify it by the color of the foil at the top and the color also of the foil archetype at the bottom. So, yan ang ating mga Lagim cards or the villain cards. And then for the Hiwaga cards, they can be identified by the color magenta. Yan. And then, for our hero cards or the mga taga-barrio, they can be identified by the white color. And for the expansion pack, they can be identified by the silver color. Yeah. Yeah. And lastly, for the regular cards, this is an example of a contra. It is in color orange. And for the expansion, yung foil natin at the top is in color orange as well. Okay? So, this white, silver, and orange are the cards under the Barrio set. Okay, so that's the anatomy of the cards. And guys, watch out because there are abilities also under each card. So, ayan, you can read those when you use the cards for attacking or when after defending, you successfully win the battle, then it activates as well. Okay, we'll get into it in detail later on.
Personal favorite ko. So we have the soul coins. So this is in bronze color. And we have the dark soul coin. So the difference is the soul coin acts as the player's life points. So if you lose all your soul points, then you're out of the
Yeah.
game.
Each player has 3, right?
Like three.
Yes.
3 yung hit points.
3 coins. And the dark soul coin, it's dark for a reason.
Yeah.
Kasi yung
It's evil.
very evil. The mechanics of the dark soul coin is you can offer it and you gain Lagim cards. So you offer something evil, you gain something evil. And by the way, when we were planning the components of the game, so we were deciding on the material. One, of course, the first thing we considered, because the budget, is paper or carton. However, we wanted the players to have a overall experience of the game. So we want them to feel the heaviness of losing the coin. Kasi if you lose the coin, tatlo, you're out of the game. So it's not just visual satisfaction, but the feel too. Yung senses ma-satisfy.
Right, so you give this evil coin to get more evil cards.
Yeah.
Evil is strangely fair.
Yeah.
Later on, we'll discuss why you would want to have the game cards.
As I mentioned earlier, if you win the game, you win this pendant, and it will immune you from all the abilities of the dweller cards. So this is the Agimat.
So you would really want to win to get this.
Yes, that's right. And this is also, kumbaga, you'll be the target of the other warriors when on the second set of the game, because they would want to get this from you.
The key to winning the game is, of course, be familiar with the game. So this leads us to the rule book. So the rule book contains of course, the gameplay, the game components, the card anatomy. And at the back page, we have like a glossary, because we have fans, supporters, and game collectors worldwide. And there are terms in this rule book na Tagalog. Because of course, you want to empower and elevate our own. So they can use this as reference. Whenever you encounter any jargon terms in the world of Lagim, you can look into the rulebook terms for reference.
We move on to the game sheet. So when we play, each of the players will have game sheets. Okay?
Thank you.
Go. Do you still need it? No. Okay.
More memorized.
Okay. For the game sheet, treat it like the shortcut of the rule book. So we are guided with how the cards are combined. So there are symbols right here. And we're also guided with the actions that we do for every phases of the players per turn. So that's the purpose of the game sheet. And this is also as where Silab is placed, as Kara mentioned earlier. Okay.
We did some beta tests, and testers actually started to study first the game sheet. And then for example, when they are in the Hating Gabi phase, what's a lot? And then that's the time that they will reference to the rule. So it's something not good to start.
All right. So now that we're all introduced to the different components of the game, we will now proceed to the game mechanics. So ready your pen and papers, because we're gonna have a quiz. Okay, now we jump onto the how to play the game. So we will discuss all the details, the mechanics of the cards, of the game sheets, and the overall play. So let's first begin by distributing cards to each player. So each player will have 4 cards. So 4 Barrio cards. So the next is we will distribute the coins. So for each player, they will have 3 coins. As is, they will have one dark soul. The goal of the game, as you can see in the game sheet, is to eliminate other players in order for you to gather soul coins. And those soul coins that you can gather from another player will be placed on your spirit path. The player who will complete the spirit path wins the Agimat. Now, in case no one completed the spirit path, there's another way to win it. You have to be the last barrio who has a soul coin sa coin stash. So, kung sino yung pinaka marami pa rin. So,
That happens when we run out of cards from the forest or the barrio.
Okay.
yun.
End
So,
of game na siya.
yes, so it has to be from the coin stash, not in the spirit path. Yeah. Okay.
So basically, there's two ways to win, either from the soul path or your coin stash. Now, yung kanina sabi ni AJ, you can only win or ang makakount lang sa coin stash is the one from sa barrio mo, not included from the soul path. So question why? Soul din naman yan. But we want to differentiate winning because you're good or winning because you did something evil. Because you gain soul coins for the soul path when you attack other barrios. When you win from the attack, then you gain a soul coin from them. We want to differentiate yung winning. Parang you cannot win by being good at evil. Parang both evil and good.
You
So
can only feed one.
yeah, feed one
Yeah.
path. So you choose. Do you want to win by attacking
Ay,
others?
always evil.
By doing evil? Or do you want to win by just defending your barrio?
Now, let's proceed naman on our guide on how to make the
Card combination.
Yes, yun, yung card combination natin. So, as we mentioned earlier, for the forest cards, we got the different archetypes, which is the witch, the ghoul, the giant, the dwarf, and bestial. Nag-iisa lang yung bestial natin.
Somewhere
Yeah.
hiding.
Yes.
Bestial is the Sigbin card, and the difference is
It's only
from
one.
other Lagim cards. It's only one, and it's residing in the barrio.
Tatago siya dun sa...
Yeah, like what's your treatment of the Sigbin?
Here,
Ah,
thank
there you
you.
go.
So this is the Sigbin. So the ability niya is stealth. So Sigbin can be played during an attack on any player's turn and is added to a forest card stack regardless of archetype. So even it's not your turn, you can attack others. Parang surprise.
Out of turn pwede
Siya.
siya.
Yeah.
Have you encountered right?
I've encountered a lot of stories of the Sigbin. Sometimes you don't know where the front half is. And there are even stories on like if you blow on its backside, it transports you to anywhere you want. So it has the power of teleportation as well. And it even figures in some urban legends. Like in the 90s, Sigbin blood was said to have cured HIV.
Oh, wow.
How did they get the blood?
There are even Sigbin, especially in this one story from the Visayas called Catalina, the Sigbin of Mount Dogdog, where it's bird-like.
Bird-like.
Like it has crow's feet and jumps like a kangaroo there.
Oh.
In the story, it doesn't really say if it flies or not. But yeah, and one interesting about the Sigbin is it can kill you by biting your shadow.
Very
So,
simple.
as you can see, this card is, the character is very unique, just like this card. This is a limited edition card. So, that means hindi siya kasama sa ating game set. So, you can still have this by purchasing it in separate set. Let's go back to when we combine cards. So, let's have an example. So, we have a character, the Tikbalang and the Bakunawa. And they belong to the same archetype. So if they belong to the same archetype, they stack together.
No.
And they can join.
They can attack together.
They attack together.
Nice.
And then, in order for us to increase the entity level, we can pair them with Puno ng Akasha, which happens to have the same archetype then.
The entity levels add up, and also every card has different abilities, which takes effect on every turn.
That's right. Now, sa mga faction, especially with the villain cards, syempre, they are not in unity or they don't work together. So if they are different archetypes, they cannot be combined. Yeah. Now let's proceed to the barrio cards. So the barrio cards are a bit different because the barrio cards or the heroes can work together. So unified sila. So regardless if it is a medium card or a mortal card, they can still work together. But the only catch is the medium card cannot be played with a warrior archetype na contra card.
So for example, if you want to use the Sibat at Sulok with the Albulario, then you have to include Dante. Because Dante is a warrior. Yes. And same if you want to use the Kalansing together with Dante, you have to include a medium. Just
Kasi siya lang yung makakagamit.
Yes.
Okay, so that's how they work. But we have a special contra cards here. The special contra cards, they can be played
With any archetype.
archetype.
Yeah, okay.
So walang kasamang tao. Pwede siya.
It can be used on its own, or you can also equip it with Spiritista or Dante.
Or Nihan.
But if you only have it,
You can use it for nullifying,
only fine.
but you cannot use it to
Yeah.
So now let's proceed to the day cycle of every barrio. A walkthrough, okay? So first, in every player's turn, we need to follow the phases from phase 1, 2, and 3. And in each phase, we are given an action to perform. So first off, takip silim. So perform these steps. Draw a card from the barrio deck. And then, the action to perform is place a maximum of 3 lakas or special contra cards face down on your barrio. So, choose 3 cards. So, I'll
Maximum
place it
3.
down. Yan. So, now, these cards become your defenders. Yung cards na may iwan sa hand nyo, you cannot play it as defenders. Only those cards that are placed face down. Now, if you want to, let's say on the next turn, you want to replace a card or a defender card, you can do that.
or you
But-
can add again.
Or you can add additional
Max of 3.
Box.
defenders. Okay? Alright, so that's the end of phase 1. My next phase now is phase 2.
2. So, Hating Gabi. So, what happens, this is the midnight na. Battle time na to. Is the time that the monsters will start infiltrating the barrio. So, your first step is draw a card from the forest deck. And you will put it face up on the dweller station. The next step is you have the option to defend. So there are 3 ways to defend. The first way is defend by bihag or capture. So to capture the mambabarang, you need to exceed the entity level. The entity level is 5. So you need to have 5. So the albulario and the buntot ng bagay. Di na kailangan mo lang ni Sir Card turuan.
For demonstration purposes, let us.
Di
So,
na kailangan.
mabibihag ko na siya.
Mabihag na siya.
And
So,
then these two,
will be discarded on the resting file. Another way is to defend by tabla or draw. If card that have an equipped card and he only has the albulario, so same empty level, he cannot capture the mababara. But the only advantage is it will be discarded to the
it is fended away
Yes.
and not
So
damaged.
both are discarded.
yes,
Yes.
as well as the albulario. The third way is to defend by casting, salag, or block. Now, let's see the ability of the Mambabarang. Rip. When this card becomes a dweller, the barrio loses 1 soul coin from the stash. So, you're supposed to lose 1 soul coin if you do not have any nullifying card. One example of nullifying card is the Buntot Pagi. So, you can place it face up, opposite to the Mambabarang. But, kailangan nyo na merong tao to use the buntot
Use
ng
it.
pagi. So, if you have
This one.
yeah, the albulario, then face up. Acting as the
Wielder.
builder. Yes, exactly.
Buntot bag.
Another way is of course, the agima, which is something that can be used on its own. So, you don't have to use the buntot ng pagi or the albulario and just use the agima to nullify. Remember, you cannot use cards from your only those on your board. Another option, if parang you don't have the cards yet to defend, you can be on standby. So just wait for your next turn to capture or defend your barrio. But there's danger in procrastinating yung defense. Why is that, AJ?
It's the Lagim limit. So, in every turn, we're only allowed to accommodate 3 Lagim dwellers. So, if you exceed the Lagim limit, it's inevitable. You cannot counter it. You cannot nullify it. What happens is all the cards or all the dweller cards in your barrio will be discarded, and then at the same time all the defender cards will be also discarded, and you have to pay the soul coin to the forest.
But if, for example, Carl has 3 dwellers already, and Vida attacked him with a sarangay, then you will lose 1 soul coin, and the soul coin will be awarded to Vida. And you will put it to your spirit pack.
But it's an evil move.
Yan na yung evil move. Yan na yun. Evil doing na yan.
During the phase 3, ito yung parang pinaka-aftermath nung chaos nung gabi na iyon. So you are given an option to do the following action. The first one is recuperate. So you get a chance to get 1 card from the barrio, and you can keep it on your hand. Alright? Next is, so that's one option. The next option is repel a dweller, just like what we did on during the Hating Gabi. So repelling a dweller, since we mentioned that it is the aftermath, so you can do bihag, tabla, and salag. Another option is raid another barrio. So ito na yung tinatawag natin na attack. We have the option to do the hasik. And the way we do that is use the Lagim cards we captured, which is the cards in our hand, and then we can pair it with the same archetype cards and place it on someone else's barrio. So that's hasik. The next is angkla. Angkla is when we have a Hiwaga card on our hand. We can anchor this Hiwaga card on the same archetype card.
Somebody
Which
else's.
is, yes. Which is, the purpose of that is you're trying to overwhelm the player with a large entity, total entity number. Next is cast a spell. So this is another way of action that you can do during the Bukang Liwayway. The first one is use a special contra card. So there are a few special contra cards that you can use for casting a spell, like the Viscera. So the way I do it is I place the Viscera, cast a spell, and then the Viscera lets me see the top 2 cards on the forest deck. Once done, this is discarded to the resting pile. And then next is use cards with summon abilities. One summon ability na meron tayo is if you happen to capture 2 tikbalang cards. You have the option to use the tikbalang cards for attacking, but you can also use it for casting a spell, because 2 tikbalang cards lets you find or acquire the agimat from the barrio deck. It's used, you have to discard it.
Well, kanina during our break
Yes.
with JK, he mentioned something about the tibalang that's parang really interesting. Can you mention that again?
Yeah, because not only do we have tikbalang, but you have centaur-like creatures as well. So you have the Kabalan from Camarines, the Bawa from Aklan. They're both centaur-like creatures. The Taiho in the Visayas region, mostly around Panay. Those are, and the Angitay. Though the Angitay you see on the internet is not really what it is like in sources, because the Angitay in the internet is a female centaur creature with a horn, and it's said to be the female counterpart of the Tikbalang. But when you look at sources like, and this is the only source I found with it, Maximo Ramos's Features of Philippine, the lore mythology book, they said that from the front, the Angitay is a beautiful maiden, and from the back, it is old mare, so old horse. So I like to think of it as a centaur-like creature that is female. But there are also female tikbalans. Like if it's sunny out and it rains, they're getting married.
Yeah.
And also like the tikbalang is the only one that can be tamed. Like it has 3 golden hairs on the top of its mane. If you wrestle it and you pick those 3 golden hairs, it'll be your servant.
Last 2 options under the cast a spell, we have the sacrificing the dark soul coin. So what's the use of this one? So when you sacrifice a dark soul coin to the forest realm, it lets you take either 2 cards from the dwellers, your dwellers, or 2 cards from the forest deck, or from both, 1 here and 1 here.
Okay.
So that's the use of the Dark Soul coin. And you can use this as a strategy to lessen the dwellers in your barrio. And last, but the most evil part is make a barrio offering. Ito talagang na-consume na si barrio, sila barrio people. So make a barrio offering is you'll use 1 lakas card with 4 of a kind contra cards. So dapat iba-iba sila. Yan. And then when you sacrifice it, you put it on the resting pile, you'll have another Dark Soul coins, which you can use to, again, lessen the dwellers or get 2 cards from the forest deck. So that's the use of the Dark Soul coin. And that is the last item under our cast spell.
May nakalimutan tayo, Jay.
What is that?
Actually, yun yung favorite natin. Ba't kalimutan natin? The pagtauli.
Hinuli ko talaga yan.
Okay.
Sige.
Hinuli for a reason. Sa pagtauli, it is to counterattack. I'll show an example. Gawin. Carl attack another Carl with gawin. Now, if you have a Hiwaga card of the same archetype, an example is the Hiyas ni Sarangay, you can equip this on Gawin and counter attack to
This is on your
Carl.
turn? Or
on his turn.
My turn. Okay.
So you can pagtauli or counter attack right away. And if
I can.
Carl, we will also have another Hiwaga card of the same archetype, can
counter to
counter
attack.
again until one loses a Hiwaga card. Our master tip is whenever you're attacking someone, you have to, as much as possible, make sure you have at least 1 Hiwaga card on your distinct archetype. In case he returns it to you.
Okay.
Alright, so
Nice.
that ends our phases and the turn of a player. So if the player, once the player is done with the phases, he can then now pass the slot to the next player.
And for our audience, if you have any questions about the gameplay, please feel free to comment again below in the comments and we will get back to you.
Yes, right. So now let's proceed to the game. tayo po.
And the winner is Vida! Okay, so guys, how was the game? How was
I
the
loved it.
experience?
It was great.
Well,
Yeah.
let's let
She
the
won,
winners
so-
speak first.
Oh yeah, let the winners pick. Or maybe ano muna? Ano muna?
Losers.
Yeah, and then we have the final word from the winner.
I loved it because this is the first time I've played with more than one person who's not related to me, meaning my wife. And I didn't know we were not playing it properly. Pero ngayon na alam ko na, it was even more fun than I thought it would be. And yung mga dynamics ng stacking and yung pag-counter-attack, they're even better when played with a group. I'm wondering if like 6 people, how it would be like much more chaotic. Much more double the fun.
So, parang, what's the difference ba when playing with your wife? Mas mabait po ba kayo nun?
Not really. It's much worse kasi here. So, many lessons learned. One of them primarily, I need a new coach.
Mag-resign
No,
out.
joking.
Never
It was
trusted
fun. It was fun. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Never
Kasi I
trusted
was
them.
helping them kanina. May part na...
Yeah, which side are you on? Para siyang para siyang UK.
I was so tempted. Parang sayang kasi yung yung spiritista. And
No,
then-
we have a strategy kasi.
That's true though na parang it
I didn't see talaga.
added sa fun. Thank you so much, Kara, for coaching me through that.
Thank you. Actually, parang hindi na kailangan ni Sir Carl to do.
Trained na.
Train na lang,
Yeah.
ginawa na lang ako. Then, Carl,
What really impressed me is the art and the construction of all the props. And I keep going in and out because I noticed some categories, like how you made the aswang a ghoul instead of the categories. A witch. And like this one I found particularly interesting in Tick Tick one because usually the Tick Tick is the pet of the aswang and it's supposed to be ugly. It's not supposed to look like a normal bird. Sometimes aswang are also Tick Tick. Like they use the tick sound, it's onomatopoeic to warn you. So if you hear it from afar, and if you hear it nearby, the volume will depend on where the aswang. For the game itself, it's very interesting and entertaining. Even though I lost, I don't want to play again because I'm competitive. All or nothing. It's a very interesting gameplay experience.
Gave it our all though.
Yeah.
Finally,
Yeah, I
a
can-
word from the winner.
I can tell you were giving it your all because you're treating me like Ukraine. Okay, so I really enjoyed this. This is my first time playing Lagim. I really like how the cards mimic how these creatures and these people act in the lore. I found that very innovative. I enjoyed that I could employ my usual game strategy in here, which is play conservatively first and then all or nothing at the end.
I knew
Of
it.
course.
More the same.
Noted.
Coach.
Noted.
And I do have a usual, we play City of Mist, but we also play other games together, so I'd be happy to introduce this to my regular gaming group.
All in all, excellent work.
Thank
Fiction
you.
Minds team.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you guys for participating in this video. But hindi pa end. So, again, thank you. We really enjoyed playing with you guys. Hopefully, we'll have another chance again to play and makabawi. Mabawi tayo. Let's play conservatively din.
It's not in my nature, but
Oh, and let me mention na kayo na Sir Carl mentioned that they felt na pala na mali pala yung way nila of playing the game. Actually, there's a rule book as a guide, but there are unspoken rules that the gamers, kayo na gamers, you have the discretion to decide yourself on, like similar to Uno,
Yeah.
pwedeng
You can modify it.
But what's in the rule book, that is the yung recommended. And again, but if you have questions, feel free to comment and we'll answer those for you. So, that's the end of the game. But meron tayong mini games
Yes.
for
So,
the writers.
Before we give the viewers their trivia question, we have another short game for our
Hoy, tago.
guests to test kung talagang nakilala nila ang mga characters ng ating Lagim card game. Category game starts. Name a Lagim card. Character.
Gawi-gawin.
Ako na.
Mangkukulam.
Mambabarang.
Sana ngayon.
Baka na ako.
Ano sabi na niya? Ano mo sabi? I not
Yeah.
yet.
Oh, okay.
I think Carl already
Yeah, yeah.
9.
Duwende?
20.
Tik-tik.
Oh, tik-tik is an...
It's a Huwaga card.
Huwaga card. Yes.
Oh,
Nalagyan
okay.
din. Another.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
Puting duwende.
4. Baka naman. 10.
Itim na duwende?
You name all the colors. Sigbin? Sigbin,
Sigbin,
no?
ah.
Favorite. Okay, we still have 10 seconds.
Okay.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I know, right?
Okay, so that's that was
Parang
a
pagbanlaw.
short game lang. Pangbanlaw. Now, we will proceed to the audience trivia question.
Actually, this is something na na-mention kanina ni JK. So, if nakikinig kayo, you'll know. Or you can replay. So, the trivia question is, what is one way to tame a tikbalang? Again, what is one way to tame a tikbalang? So, please comment your answers below with the hashtag Lagim Card Game and hashtag Tawag ng Dilim. Again, one winner will win 50% voucher.
Yes.
Yes.
Once again, thank you for watching our Halloween special, and we would also like to thank our guests, Sir Carl, Miss Vida, Sir Carl, for participating in this showcasing of the Lagim Game Set 2nd edition. So, guys, if you have something to promote, go ahead. The mic is yours, Sir Carl.
I am Carl de Mesa, and again, this is my newest book, Calling Out the Destruction. Please pre-order on the second run sa rebelpress.com. And I also make music as Dark Horse. You can buy my music at bandcamp.com. Or just log on to my project site, linktree.com/CarlRDemesa.
Miss Vida.
So, my collection, Song of the Mango and Other New Myths, will be up from Ateneo Press on November 2022. But you can buy this current collection, which I've self-published, called Beyond the Line of Trees. And it's available on Gumroad as a PDF, but I have a few print copies left with me. You can find me on vidacruz.org or on Twitter at lavisemoi. Tweet me. I will talk about lore.
Yeah.
Okay, please visit phspirits.com. That's where I have my stories online. If you want to support PH Spirits, we do have zines as well as books. Right now, we're doing Halloween 2022, where it's a prompt every day for October for a mythical creature of the Philippines. You can just contact through my Facebook page at PH Spirits, Instagram, also at PH Spirits, and Twitter at SpiritsPH.
So thank you guys. But before we let you go, we have prepared a special gift for you,
Yes.
Norbert. Or are you?
The runner.
The runner. And so, well, kinuha Norbert yung aming special gift. We want to thank our mga floor planners and mga videographers, Bianca, John, Sandra, Chrysler, Jeb, Elise, Flor. Thank you, everyone.
And everyone else from Fiction Minds and A2 Design.
And this is Norbert. This is Norbert.
Whoa!
He's the man.
Yeah. And something different for
Oh, yeah.
Sir Carl. Please open yung ating secret na pinag-usapan.
Secret na pinag-usapan.
Now we'll
This one
give him
is
the
big reveal.
big
Ayun.
ayaw palabas.
Oh no, may mahiwalay
Shy siya.
Oh!
Nice!
Oh,
wow! Let me mention, actually, Sir
Handsome
Carl
guy.
is one of our first farm believers and yes, and supporter of Lagim. So,
Thank you so much for
action
making
figure
excellent
of
work.
appreciation.
So cool.
It's the smallest giant I have seen. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank you all.
Again, thank you everyone for watching. Please like and follow Lagim Card Game sa Facebook and Instagram, and subscribe, of course, to our YouTube channel. Again, this is the Halloween special of Lagim, Tawag ng Dilim. Bye, everyone!